Well, Al, the question is, how fresh is your breath this morning? And how can you find out? What can you do about it? And can we possibly be one of the most kissable cities? We'll find out. All of that, Lee. 8:13 on this Thursday morning. It's a topic that many don't want to talk about, but it's so common, a common problem, and so many of us don't know what to do about it. Bad breath is what we're talking about, and we have a bad breath authority in the house. Dr. Harold Katz is here from the California
Breath Clinics.
Breath Clinics.
Yes.
So you have really devoted a lot of research to bad breath.
Well, I've smelled more bad breath than anyone on this planet, probably 25,000 people.
Company excluded.
That's right. You smell fine so far.
All right, good. Oh, good.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about, first of all, how to prevent bad breath,
Yes.
but how to treat it as well. And we have Charlie here, who is one of our news producers, who we recruited from the newsroom. So, Charlie, this is a bad breath tester?
Yeah, it's called a halimeter. It measures the sulfur that's in your breath. That's how you know if your breath is bad. There's sulfur compounds produced by bacteria in foods. So anything above 120 means something is starting that's not so good.
Okay, so we're going to test Charlie's breath just right now
just
as
take your
is.
tongue out like that and just hold your breath just like that. Okay, and Charlie's pretty good. It's got about 90.
90?
Okay, 90, that's good. Now, what typically happens, Super Bowl's coming up, and people will eat spicy foods. They'll eat things with onions on it. Let me just show you. Charlie's
going to eat a raw onion.
Raw onion, just chew on that, and I'll show you what that can do to your breath. And people don't know this. They think, well, it tastes a little strong, but how is it affecting my
Poor
breath?
Charlie. Charlie's kind of a new guy around here, so he gets stuck with this job.
It's Charlie's last day at work.
Right.
Okay. So
and
just
I want to tell, later I'll tell you where you can get this done as well.
Okay, a little farther out. Open wider. Okay, Charlie's got 190, 250, 260, 270. From a little bit of onion, he hit 280.
Now, what's that mean? So that means he's got bad breath.
That means he has bad breath. Anything over 120 means it's kind of funky.
Okay.
That's a technical term.
All right, all right.
Now, what typically happens, people can't smell their own breath. They really don't know how bad it is.
Right.
So for your viewers, if they want to test it at home without having this machine, this doesn't work. Doing that, that's a great way to smell your hand.
Right.
What you do is you lick the back of your hand.
You lick your hand.
Let it dry for a couple of seconds, and then smell that. Now, Charlie, don't do that. We know it's not so good.
You've done enough.
We know it's not so good.
Okay, so lick the back of your hand,
lick
let
the back
it dry.
and smell. Lick your own hand, by the way. That's very important.
Okay. So what we're going to do is give Charlie one of your products. You have these mouthwashes to freshen his breath.
Right, and the reason they work as opposed to traditional mouthwashes, they contain oxygenating compounds. The bacteria and the odors that you smell in bad breath are sulfur-based. This actually absorbs all the sulfur compounds, so it doesn't matter where it comes from, it will absorb it in a matter of minutes, and Charlie will be back to fresh breath again.
Okay, so what we'll do, we're going to give Charlie a big dose of mouthwash. We're going to come back. When we come back, Dr. Katz will talk about foods you should avoid to avoid bad breath and some other things you can do to keep your breath fresh and where you can go. It's Meyer in Livonia tonight, but I'll give you more details about that coming up in our next half hour. All right, Lee Thomas, what do you think? There's a man in search of the most kissable city in the country, Dr. Harold Katz. This is official business, though. You're not just out kissing people.
No, this is we actually have a machine. My wife wouldn't let me kiss people.
Right, you'd be in big trouble at home.
That's right.
He is a bad breath expert, and actually he's here to test the breath of Metro Detroiters. So we just had Charlie, our producer, eat an onion. So Charlie, when you ate the onion, your breath was
like 280.
It tasted bad.
Bad, yes.
So you use some mouthwash. How does it taste now?
It tastes clean.
Yeah.
But
not
minty. No.
Yeah, we're not trying to cover up bad breath with another odor or flavor. We're actually absorbing the odor. So you want neutral breath. That's what fresh breath really is.
Neutral, not minty.
So Charlie had 280. Let's see what he ends up with here now. Charlie's down to back to where he was, about 110.
Okay.
Very good. Excellent. So we absorbed all the onion within a couple of minutes.
Let's talk a little bit about bad breath.
Sure.
Sometimes people say it comes from food you've eaten. It's in your stomach coming all the way up. Does it live in your mouth?
Yeah, it has to do with bacteria in the back of your tongue, throat, and tonsils.
Okay.
And these bacteria produce compounds called, one's hydrogen sulfide, which is the rotten egg smell. One's called cadaverine, you know what that smells like, or putrescine. So these are real chemicals which have strong odors. Traditionally, people think, well, if I use a strong mouthwash, that's going to cover it up. But most mouthwashes contain alcohol, which makes the mouth dry. That's an environment the bacteria love. So the more dry your mouth, the worse your breath is going to be. Like morning breath, your mouth is really dry because you don't produce saliva when you sleep. The bugs produce sulfur as you're sleeping. bad breath.
Let's talk about some of the things you say to avoid, which
Yes.
I guess you say avoid dairy because that helps grow bacteria. That
Yes.
is bacteria.
Well, with the way the bugs create the odors is they break down proteins, and dairy foods have certain types of proteins chock full of sulfur compounds.
Okay, and limit coffee?
Yeah, very much so. Coffee is very
Why?
acidic.
Oh.
It actually stimulates the bugs to produce more odors. Tea is a much better alternative.
Okay, clean your tongue.
Yes, very important. You want to make sure you keep your tongue clean. What we're doing for your viewers,
Yes.
they can call a toll-free number 897-FRESH, 897-FRESH.
Okay.
We'll send them free samples of all this with a tongue cleaner and a book with all the tips we're talking
You want
about.
to scrape that bacteria off your tongue.
Yes, but use a toothpaste together with it, which does not have any detergent. Sodium lauryl sulfate is unfortunately in a lot of toothpaste. That makes your tongue dry, and then you're off to bad breath
Oh my
again.
goodness, it's so much to keep track of, Dr. Katz.
There's a lot of stuff.
Okay. And also avoid alcohol because that dries out your mouth, and that's also...
Exactly. Yeah, in fact, there's more alcohol in the leading mouthwash than a whole six-pack of beer, and the beer tastes better, by the way. Yeah, so what we developed here are
Okay.
formulas which have oxygen compounds in them, and they're available at Meijer and CVS and Target and Walmart, called TheraBreath. The extra strength one is called Periotherapy, and they're all natural. There's no weird chemicals. In fact, as you can see, the mouthwash is totally clear. So,
if you're
yes.
taking good care of your mouth, should you have to use a mouthwash?
Well, a third of the population has bad breath, which is a 24/7 problem.
All right.
So they may need to use this. And flossing is really important, too. I want to make sure I mention that.
I know. We hear that all the time.
Yes.
Dr. Katz will be at the Meijer in Livonia on Middle Belt from 5 to 7, testing your breath. All the info is on our website. It's myfoxdetroit.com. And there's much more on the way when Fox 2 News Morning returns. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for being here. Thank you.